We're 2 days away from Climax Control, and I can't fucking wait. It's been 2 weeks without wrestling. It fucking sucks. The whole week off fucking sucks, and I gotta tell you, I'm not okay with it. Are you ready for the hot wire? Well, you better be, because it starts right now. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Hot Wire. I can't wait until Climax Control. If you couldn't tell before, I'm ready. I'm ready for some wrestling. We had a nice little break. Okay, but it's time to get back to the action. It's time to get fucking pumped up for fucking Japan. Can you believe this? We're going to be in fucking Japan. I know it's not the first time, but it's still exciting. To me, it's the home of, like, real passionate pro wrestling, right? People there take it seriously on a whole nother level. Because I'm a serious wrestling fan, right? Like, I like it. I'm into it. I talk about it all the time. I do a fucking weekly radio show, for Christ's sake, but they take it seriously, like lots of pomp and circumstance. They're really into it, so I'm excited. Unfortunately, I won't be in Japan. I know it sucks, but you could thank Hot Stuff, Mark Ward, and Christian Underwood for being fucking cheap and not wanting to pay for my ticket. So, excuse me, but I'll be there in spirit. Okay, I'm gonna be with you every step of the way. I'm going to be here every week, every Friday, recapping all the action, predicting all the new action, and, it's going to be a good time, and I can't wait. But it is that time of the week again, right? So who's ready for the mailbag? Right? We had a lot of questions this week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get all of them. I'm certainly going to try, but I can't thank you guys enough for actually fucking listening to me and sending in these questions. It's awesome. Please continue to do so. You guys make the show, and I really appreciate that. Let's see here. Rob Moyer from Athens, Georgia. The city you're most looking forward to besides Tokyo is. Like I just said, I won't actually physically be there. But if I were to be there, it would probably be a tie between Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and for obvious reasons. I'm a big history buff. There's obviously a lot of terrible Japanese history there, but a lot of terrible American history too. And to be able to see some of the memorials and to experience some of that would have been really cool. So fuck you, Mark Ward, for not paying for my ticket. I didn't really say that, by the way. I love you, Mark. Please continue to sign my paychecks. I was just kidding. Russell King from Tampa, Florida. Yo, Tommy, you seem high on Ramon, but my money is riding on New Roulette Champion Sunday. Am I going to regret it? Yes, you are, Russell King, because the roulette title is not on the line on Sunday. You probably sent this question in before they adjusted the card. Remember, guys, cards are subject to change. Originally, Matt Spears was supposed to get his roulette title shot at Climax Control on Sunday, but because of the finish of the title match in which James Tuccini and Steve Ramone both actually won, they decided to push that bout out. Yes, you are going to regret it. I do think that Steve Ramone will retain when they do face off. It will be James Tuccini and Steve Ramone first at some point, and I would imagine Matt Spears might get his shot at the Supercard. I don't really know, but then again, yes, you'll regret it because the match will never happen. Let's see. Christine Lee at Steampunk Chrissy. Cool handle. Hey, Tommy. Team Hero is on fire. Having already beaten every Bombshell tag team in the division, do you see Roxy and Kira ever losing the World Bombshell Tag Team Championship, or are they that damn good? There are two answers to this question. Number one is they are that damn good. Yes, they are miles ahead of anyone who could challenge them right now. That being said, people get cocky. Right, Ronda Rousey lost. Okay, Micah lost. It will happen. Eventually, someone will beat them. Is that team currently on the roster, or is that team currently formed at the moment? I don't think so. But I've been surprised before, obviously. But I think that reign will continue long into 2016. At Funk Soul Brother, spelled Seoul, he must be Korean. Micah or Sam Marlowe. I can't decide who's hotter. What do you think? Sam Marlowe is my dream woman. Let's just leave it at that. Dennis Massey from Stamford, Connecticut. The Bombshells are obviously talented, but where would you rank the current crop based on their in-ring skills, promo ability, marketability, and off-screen contributions to SCW? That's a good question. So where would I rank them? I think you currently on the roster, you have someone who might end up, when it's all said and done, might end up being the most accomplished, considered by many the best SCW bombshell in history, and that's Micah. Is she there yet? No, but I think she could be. That being said, am I going to rank the whole division? Probably somewhere in the middle of the pack. I mean, last time I checked, Misty Waters, Vixen Staggs, Odette Ryder, Delia Darling, they are not on the active roster, right? So at one point or another, you had all four of those women on the active roster. So to me, that, when I'm ranking them, would be the best bombshell roster of all time. This one's certainly good. It just doesn't have four future Hall of Famers on it at the moment active. So, that's where I'm going with that one. Let's see here. Who would you like to see form a tag team? We need some. Can I answer it with that? We need some tag teams. The tag team division is suffering. We got, I think, obviously Team Hero, best tag team in wrestling right now. We got two strong teams in the Superstar division. Both the champions, Jamie Dean and Ben Jordan. Team BJ, love it. And Lord Rob and his husband. Don't get me started. Samuel McPherson. Again, strong team. Rob is a former roulette and obviously a former world heavyweight champion. He's a beast. Other than that, there's nobody. So I think the division is seriously hurting at the moment, and we need some teams. The Surf Boys are there too. I forgot. I'm sorry. I apologize. Let's see. Next question. How can I win a date with Melody Grace? Unless you're an self-righteous, annoying, egotistical maniac of a world heavyweight champion, you're probably not. I think she is pretty obsessed with J2H, and I don't see that changing anytime soon, so sorry, pal. You ain't going to hit that. Do you have any insight on where Hot Stuff's tour pick is? Yes, I do, and you could tell everyone that you heard it here on the Hotwire first. It is 100% not Japan. How come Steve Ramone all of a sudden has gotten really good? Has he been tested for performance-enhancing drugs? There's this myth out there that Steve Ramone isn't very good or wasn't very good. Steve Ramone has always been very good, right? He, to me, should have been roulette champion a few years ago against Max Burke. He got screwed out of some shit by Mark Ward. He's very good, okay? He's probably the most underrated superstar on the roster. Could probably, with his talent alone, be competing for the World Heavyweight Champion. I think that. I believe that. Could he win? Maybe not. But he could certainly get in the ring with TNA and Conor Murphy. And, so no, I don't think he's on performance-enhancing drugs. I think it's just about fucking time everybody else started paying attention. What is next in the Bombshell division? I don't really know what that question means. What is next? Climax control? I mean, I really don't know the answer to that question. If you're asking me to make a bold prediction, I will. Let's see. So we're about 6 months from High Stakes 6, right? Right? Yeah. Okay. So my bold prediction will be that Micah will be in the World Bombshell Championship match at High Stakes. Whether she's the champion or the challenger, I'm not going to make that call. But my bold prediction is she'll be in that match. Other than that, I really don't know how to answer the question. Sorry. What's your favorite Alex Rush song, and does he sing in the locker room? I don't know if he sings in the locker room. I've never been in the locker room when Alex Rush was there, so I can't answer that question. I apologize. But I am a big Mr. Firecrotch fan. That song, Put It In Me Mama's Bum, is probably my favorite. I listen to it on replay at the gym, so he's the fucking man. Do you think Conor Murphy will be the next number one contender for the heavyweight championship? Probably. I think he deserves it. I think he had just as much claim to it as anybody else. He looked fantastic in that main event a couple weeks ago. And, absolutely yes is my answer. Let's see here. Alex Waldeck says, if you could pair up the entire SCW roster into tag team, who would your favorite pairing be, and who would be the strongest? That goes back to the question a little while ago. We need teams, right? I don't really know who I would pair up. I don't make those decisions. I would probably like to see. Wow, I just lost my train of thought here. Sorry. Ryan Keys and Matt Spears, to me, once they're done with their match, and if Matt Spears does not win the Roulette Championship, I could see them teaming up. I think they have kind of like a good look together. They're both strong competitors. They're both up and coming and could do each other favors in the tag team division if things in the Roulette division don't work out for them. Let's see. Willer Minette. Who in the roster needs to change their career choice? Who sucks at what they do? That's an easy question. Lucian Frost. Don't ever fucking come back. Ever. Marie Cruno. Whose theme song gets your blood pumping and ready to kick some ass? There's a few of them that I like. Ben Jordan's theme. I Know It Hurts by Alter Bridge is a good one. There's a guy who used to be in Sin City Wrestling. I'm just going to say used to be, by the name of John Doe. Anybody remember that guy? Right, John Doe. Middle Class Ruts, New Low is an awesome song, and I love it. It's on steady rotation in my car. I'm a fan, so I'd probably pick that one. Let's see. Michelle Colt, merch. Whose would you buy, and do you own any? I do. I'm a t-shirt collector, so I have pretty much every t-shirt that you see available in the SCW shop I own. I also like hats too, so I got some hats. I got a Mr. Showtime hat. I got a Gianni DeLuca hat. By the way, there will be a new t-shirt available in the SCW shop this weekend. It might say the Hotwire on it. I'm just saying, 1995. Help a brother out. I got fucking college tuition to pay. All right? Just keep that in mind. Let's see. We got a couple more questions, and then we're going to cut it. Since you're going to Japan, do you think wrestlers are really respected more in Japan than they are in the United States? Good question. I think the real question should be, is the definition of respect for wrestlers different in Japan? Because I think they're respected across the board. American audiences and Japanese audiences are completely different. Americans respond very much to instant gratification. They love it when you swing a chair or pull a table out. We can't get enough of that shit over here on this side of the Atlantic, or Pacific, I should say. The Japanese, however, are more of a classy bunch, and they take more to technical ability and strategy than they do to flash and excitement. Not to say they don't like excitement, but the technical ability and the strategy and submissions. They love all that shit. And it's weird because you'll see some guys who are just huge stars here not get quite the same reaction, and vice versa, right? Like a guy like Steve Ramone or a guy even like TNA might get huge pops in Japan because they're great ring technicians, right? I mean, they're fantastic. Where a guy like Despair, who's without a doubt the biggest fan favorite on this roster when it comes to an American, I mean, there's no comparison. He may not get that big of a pop. I mean, he probably will, but the audience won't take to him as well as the American audience does because they look for different things. But that being said, I think they're respected across the board. I don't think that there's any less respect on either side of the Pacific. Let's just say that. In your first episode, you touched on lesbians in professional wrestling, but failed to mention the number of gay men in the sport. Out of curiosity, what do you think about Jamie Dean's claim that wrestling itself is homoerotic? I don't think wrestling is homoerotic. I think for some reason it has attracted an enormous amount of really good-looking lesbians. It's a sport, right? There's some gay men, sure. There's some straight men, sure. I don't think anything about it. Growing up, I never thought, ew, they're touching, they're not wearing shirts. To me, I never got that vibe. So no, I don't think it's homoerotic. Excuse me. How do you explain Angel, a teddy bear, achieving a level of popularity that surpasses many of the actual wrestlers themselves? Because it's a fucking teddy bear, right? Who doesn't love a teddy bear? I love a teddy bear, right? My 7-year-old daughter loves a teddy bear, right? But where the stare, it's a teddy bear. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right? All right? All right. All right, well, that's enough for the mailbag. I think I'm done answering questions. I wanted to bring up something that kind of bothered me this week, right? We call this segment, What's Eating Tom? So, what is eating Tom? So, earlier this week, I'm on, believe it or not, I'm on Twitter, right? And I'm seeing an enormous amount of heat on Crystal Millar, right? Just an enormous amount of Crystal Millar heat. I got on her too because she deserves it because she's a fucking bitch, right? We can all agree that. But, I mean, there's people just coming out of the woodwork, right? And like, oh, you did this. So, you know what's eating Tom? What's eating Tom is Crystal Millar. She's a bitch, right? But she wasn't that mean, right? She really wasn't that mean. I think Despair really needs to get over himself a little bit. Okay, I think the women that have been really just shaming Crystal Millar, also need to get over themselves a little bit. I think it's a little bit much. Is she a bitch? Yes. She should deserve some hate. Yes. Should Despair be locking himself in the room? No, absolutely not. You're the number one contender of the World fucking Heavyweight Championship. Act like it, bro. All right, I got much love for you. You know that I do. I'm a big supporter. But come on, man. Let's go. It's been 2 weeks. Let's move on. All right, that's what's eating Tom today. Okay. But let me ask you a question. So there's been a lot of things circling backstage about a number of different people. And I got to ask, how come you don't address some of this stuff on your show? Right? Like, how come we don't hear some juiciness? Like, how come we don't hear a lot of rumors and stuff? And the question is, I've never been really that guy, like, I know my predecessor, Kenny Chisholm, made a big point of his show, which was nowhere near as good as this fucking show, let's just say it now, right? About bringing up rumors and news and all that stuff. And to me, like, I like to focus on the wrestling, I like the mailbag, it's fun. But it's what the viewers want, so I'm going to give you, the rumors, right? And when I do this, guys, please know that these are rumors, okay? Some of them are substantiated. Some of them are absolutely not, okay? This is the fucking disclaimer, okay? So the 3 or 4 of you that run to Mark Ward hot stuff and say, oh, my God, Kami said this about me. He said this about me. I'm sorry. I heard it through the grapevine, bro. You know how that goes, okay? So we just need to move on a little bit and just accept that they're fucking rumors, okay? So what's going on backstage at SCW? Number one, by all accounts, there will be not 1, not 2, but 3 returning SCW superstars and or bombshells in action at the next Supercard. People that have been on the roster and are not currently on the roster. Take that what you will. I don't exactly know the names. I know one of them, but it's a little far-fetched, so I'm not going to come out and say it. But we do know there will be 3 of them. Let's see here. Tim Staggs. Buzz backstage is that Tim Staggs was caught with illegal substances and paraphernalia in his gym bag after the match against Brother Grimm at Blaze of Glory. It's totally unofficial, so I don't know how true this is, but I heard this from several backstage crew members and wrestlers that he was walked out by Phoenix PD. I tried to reach out to Eric Staggs, say, hey, his great uncle, vice president of talent relations, hey, what's going on? And lo and behold, I got no comment. Let's see. There's been a lot of talk about this open challenge continuing from J2H. One little birdie told me that Rage is actually gearing up to answer that challenge. And I'm going to say this to Rage right now. If you do, you better fucking win, bro. It's about time you turn into that fucking monster you always say you are. I see it in you. I want to believe. Make me a fucking believer. Who knows if it's true or not? I don't know. Also, there's also a rumor going around that Micah, former World Bombshell Champion Micah, and Mr. Showtime himself have been canoodling. 2 people who very vocally and publicly hated each other and now are apparently an item. I don't know how true this is. It might be hard for me to see them getting over some of the evil shit they did to each other and said to each other. But you never know. Also, I've heard that there is a bombshell on the roster who has a significant drinking problem. So bad, right, that she's been asked to leave events before. I don't know who that is, but the source that told me was pretty reliable. Also, I heard that Roxy Johnson and Kira Fisher Johnson will be renewing their vows at some point. And on the guest list was Crystal Millar, which they got a lot of heat for, by the way. And that goes back to my What's Eating Tom segment. They just came down on it. Coming down on Roxy. Well, I mean, Roxy, if she saw a bug, right, on like a kitchen plate, would very gently pick the bug up, apologize for moving it, and bring it outside. Like, she's the sweetest person in the world. But that's, besides the point. Anyway, those are all the rumors that I got. Maybe next week we'll hear a few more. I'm not entirely sure, but you never know. Let's talk about Climax Control. What's going on in Climax Control? This is the first show in Japan. It's the first show back after Blaze of Glory 5. A lot of questions that need to be answered. To me, the biggest question is, who is the Roulette Champion? Are we going to duke it out between the 2 of them? Or are you just going to say that because it was a draw, Steve Ramone won? We need some clarification on that. But we got a 7-match card. A couple of them are pretty big matches. And let's do some breakdowns, right? Opening the show is newcomer Constantine, who I think is the first Greek wrestler in Sin City history, taking on CJ Sharp. CJ Sharp let me down. I thought he was going to win that number 1 contender match at Blaze of Glory, and he lost. So I'm going to pick Constantine to go over in this one. I think that it's always a safe bet, betting on a debuting superstar, and I wish him all the luck. Next will be Ryan Keys versus Matt Spears. I alluded to these 2 earlier in the show. I think these guys are just awesome. Like, I'm really high on both of them. Exceptionally high on Ryan Keys, even though he lost to Matt Spears just 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pick Keys. I think he's gonna get his win back on this night in Japan. I think that he probably could have won at Blaze of Glory 5 if 1 or 2 things broke differently. So I think he'll pick up the win over Spears. And what that will do to the Roulette contendership, I don't know, right? Could become a very interesting Japanese tour if he does pick up the win. The next one is almost like a blood feud, right? A blood feud, excuse me. Alexis Edwards and Kira Fisher Johnson have just fucking gone after each other on Twitter for to me, what seems like forever. Alexis, who I'm really, really high on as a performer, I think she's got, a great career ahead of her. Just very publicly fucking hates Kira. And this could turn into just, to me, like an all-out, for lack of a better word, slobber knocker, right? I mean, they could just beat the piss out of each other. I'm going to pick Alexis Edwards to win. I do believe that Team Hero was the better team, without a doubt, at Blaze of Glory. I don't necessarily think that Kira Fisher is the better competitor in this match. So again, I'm going to go with Alexis. I think it'll be a good one, but I'm going to go with Alexis. Despair versus Chris Burden. Despair, who I really hope is out of that funk by Sunday against Chris Burden, who really did nothing in his match at Blaze of Glory. I would imagine Despair puts this one away and puts it away pretty easily. Again, could be a nice kind of get your feet back in the water, get out of your room, stop sulking, get a win under your belt, and remember that you're the number one contender to the greatest prize in the whole fucking world, right? So let's move on. The next one is actually a return match. So these two lovely, these two women, I won't call anybody in this match lovely, had a couple of really good matches, right? And that's Micah and Crystal Millar. Micah had the longest World Bombshell Championship reign of all time. And in the middle of that reign, she had two really good matches against Crystal Millar, Crystal Hilton at the time. And Crystal really could have won both of those matches. And Micah ended up pushing past. And I think ultimately those two matches took so much out of her that when she ended up facing Sam Marlowe, she just didn't have any gas left in the tank. So I think that's why she ended up there. So I will say, this is a tough one. I don't like Crystal, and that's obviously not something that I hide. But I do think Micah is the best talent on the roster in either division. So I'm going to say Micah's going to win this one. I think it'll be close again. I'm just not sold on Crystal Millar beating Micah. She's tried twice and she's failed twice. And until she can beat Micah and prove me wrong, I'm never going to pick against Micah in that particular matchup. Jesse Zalco went on Twitter and said, Melody, you can have a title shot if you want one. And Melody, of course, said, yeah, I'll take one. So here we go. Internet Championship match, Jesse Salco versus Melody Grace. I said this last show. Jesse Salco has great luck when it comes to winning championships. She has not so good luck when it comes to retaining championships. In fact, she's never successfully defended a singles title ever. Ever. She's had a few reigns. She's never successfully defended one of them. I don't think she will successfully defend one this Sunday either. I think that Melody Grace is a star. I think that this is her time to win a singles title for the first time. And I think that it is a mistake by Jesse Salco to grant this match so early on, because I like Jesse. I think Jesse could still win this match. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she doesn't have a shot. I just think when you're a betting man and you're looking at odds and you're looking at what I always say, facts and statistics, you got to go with the numbers. Numbers don't lie. And Jesse Salco has never defended a title successfully, so I got to go with Melody. But prove me wrong, Jesse. You've done it once already. All right? You've done it once already. Do it again, I challenge you, and I would be pleasantly surprised. In the main event of the evening, we have Connor Murphy. We have Casey Williams as a tag team versus Dimitri and Travis Nathaniel Andrews, Mr. TNA. So this is the one thing that kind of fell flat with me when I looked at this card. I think this will be a good matchup. I'm not really sure why it's closing the show. I understand that both Connor Murphy and TNA were in the main event of Blaze of Glory, but so was J2H, right? To me, I think it would have been better to have, Jesse Salco and Melody close the show. Certainly, Micah and Crystal could have closed the show. I mean, that's the biggest draw on the card. I do think Connor Murphy and Casey Williams will win this match. I just like the team dynamic a little bit better. TNA, who, as you know, I am high on, and I think he's a star in the making. I just don't think that he's got it in him to tag team with anybody. I think in his brain he's the fucking man, and I can't see him ever reaching across the ring and slapping Demetrius' hand. And because of that, I think that I think that Connor Murphy and Casey Williams will win. Again, this probably should have been 4th or 5th match on the card, not the main event. I'm not a booker. Let's say that right now. I'm not a booker. I'm only a critic. Okay? And we all know critics like to bitch after the fact. So take that with a grain of salt. But I probably would have had Michael and Crystal close the show. That's just me. Hey, guess what? So I posted a question to Twitter earlier in the week of the best or the most exciting. I forget the way I worded it, but what are your dream matches? I gave 4 options for a dream match in the Bombshell division. Right? I gave you Misty Waters versus Micah, Delia Darling versus Micah. Right? I forget the third choice. What was the third choice? Well, I'm drawing a blank here. Whatever, doesn't matter. And I also gave Vixen Staggs versus Melody Grace. Right? Let me bring it back here for a second. Vixen Staggs is a Hall of Famer. She's a 3-time Bombshell champion. She was a roulette champion. And numerous accolades, a year in awards. She's a Hall of Famer for a reason, right? When I think of dream matches, I don't think Vixen Staggs versus Melody Grace. And to be honest with you, I think I threw it on there just to put Vixen on there because I didn't want to disrespect her. Because to me, she's a dream match. Like, I want to see her back in the ring again. So Melody Grace, who I'm a big fan of, won, her and Vixen got, it was like 50% of the vote, right? And this, by the way, is the biggest response we've had from any of these Twitter poll questions. And the Twitterverse, the SCW universe, responded by saying Vixen Staggs versus Melody would be their dream match. And you know what? That goes to show you how in the moment fans really are in today's world, right? Because as a historian of the sport, right, a true fan of the sport, I mean, I would pay out the fucking ass to see Misty Waters lace up her boots one more time against Micah. Shit, I would pay more money than I've ever paid to see Delia Darling come back and face Micah, right? Delia Darling versus Micah, to me, those are probably the 2 best Bombshell title reigns this company has ever had and may ever have. And neither one of them they've ever faced each other, right? So, to me, that's a dream match. Again, Vixen Staggs, I love, mucho respect for. Melody Grace, a rising star. Dream match on today's level, I just don't see it. But you know what? Listen, that's 2 weeks in a row. The SCW universe has voted me wrong, right? Because it doesn't fucking matter what I think. Let's make that clear, right? You guys are what matters, and you guys picked Vixen Staggs versus Melody Grace. So, Vixen, I challenge you. You're not past your prime. Come back, right? One-time deal versus Melody Grace, right? Maybe it'll be for the Internet Championship. What do you think? Huh? Mark Ward, get on the phone. Let's book it. Right? I think so. Anyway, guys, listen. I've been trying to think of ways to add layers to the show because I feel like I just kind of talk in circles sometimes. So I really wanted to figure out a way to add something to the show, right? So I'm thinking there and I'm looking, and SCW has such a rich history. It's had some of the best cards, best shows I've ever seen as a wrestling fan. And so I decided, you know what, every week now I'm going to go back to shows from the past in like this time a year ago, this time 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and just pick like one match or one card and just kind of highlight it, right? And we're going to call it This Week in SCW History, for lack of a better lame name for it. But 2 years ago this week, right, Climax Control number 80, right, so 60-something shows ago, we were actually in the Middle East, right? I don't know if you guys remember that, at the Cairo Military Academy, right? Amy Marshall was the roulette champion, the bombshell roulette champion. All right, I think she had just beaten Mercedes Vargas, if my memory is correctly. And we needed a contender. So what they ended up doing was they did a battle royal, or basically every available bombshell on the roster. And the winner of the battle royal, which was the first match of the night, would then challenge Amy Marshall at the end of the night. A little Kiwi, right, named Emma Rose, won the battle royal. I don't know if you guys, some of you guys might not know Emma Rose. She kind of disappeared when she broke up or got done. I don't really know all the specifics. She used to date Ben Jordan, and Ben Jordan has certainly traded up. Let's just say that now. Okay, Sam Marlowe, I love you. Call me. Anyway, Emma Rose won the battle royal. She went on in the main event to beat Amy Marshall, and she became a roulette champion. And what's significant about that is she actually had a really lengthy, impressive title run. I know she's not in the company anymore. She's one of those, to me, a cautionary tale. Could have been a huge star. Something happened in her personal life, and it affected her, and she just couldn't continue on. She ended up leaving the company. But a great night for City Wrestling. It was a huge night for women's wrestling. It was really exciting, and I commend her for that. And wherever you are, Emma Rose, thank you for Climax Control 80 and your roulette title win. So now it's time for everyone's favorite segment of the week, right? Stock up, stock down. But Tommy, we didn't have a show last week. How could someone's stock go up or go down? Because I fucking say it can. That's why, right? So whose stock is up? You know whose stock is up? Mr. TNA, right? This guy, I'm telling you, he's quite cool now, right? You haven't heard too much from him, right? A couple of off-shot tweets here, right? This guy just put on the show of his life. Even, again, I know he lost, right? But to me, it was the best match of his SCW career. This guy's going places. He's starting to mature a little bit, which I like. And I think this guy in 2016 is going to have a fantastic year, right? He's going to have a huge year. So to me, his stock is up. Until something happens that proves me wrong or says to me otherwise, his stock is going to keep going up. Stock up. I did a lot of research this past week, right? Some downtime because we don't have a show. I was a little depressed. J2H, to me, right, has got the makings of not only be the longest reigning World Heavyweight Champion we've had, but to be the most impressive. I think this guy's going to end up with the most successful title defenses. I think at this moment, Nick Jones has that moniker. You guys remember Nick Jones? Whatever happened to that guy, right? Hall of Famer, Nick Jones. We miss you. I think J2H, to me, is the preeminent SCW superstar. I can't see anybody that's on the active roster now beating him. At this moment, I think he's going to hold that belt for a while. And he's had some exciting matches. I think that's going to continue. I wouldn't mind seeing a Twitter question someone asked, a one-on-one match with Conor Murphy. I think that would be exciting. I still think J2H would win. That, to me, the match at the Supercard between Despair is going to be awesome, especially if they put a really cool stipulation on it, like a ladder match. Woo, please. Right? Never going to happen, but would be awesome. But I still think he'll win. I think he's going to hold that belt for a little while. And that's that. Stock up, to me, a little bit surprising. I'm going to say this, a little bit surprising. And to me, it's Crystal Millar, right? I hate the bitch. That to me, I wish she'd go choke on a dick somewhere. But she's a talent, right? Love her or hate her, you've all been fucking talking about her for 2 weeks now. Constantly talking about her. Talking about how she's going to get a Bombshell Championship match. And to be honest with you, even though she's 3 matches from the end of the card, she is the main event with Micah. That match to me is the main event and the biggest attraction on the card. I think that she deserves to have her stock up this week. She also deserves to get slapped at the mouth, but she deserves to have her stock up. So we've done stock up, so that brings us to stock down. Whose stock is down this week? You know whose stock is down this week? Mercedes Vargas' stock is still down. You lost your internet championship, right? And now you're not even booked on the first show in Japan. To me, again, that's gotta hurt. She's on a bit of a downturn right now. I hope she turns it around. I think she could turn it around because she's a great talent. But, sorry, baby. Stock is still down. Who else's stock is down? Chris Burden stock is down. Right, when this guy came in the scene a few months ago, I was pretty high on him. Right, I thought he had a good look. Seemed a bit more talented than maybe he really is, and now he's just turned into, nothing. I mean, he's a feeder for despair to get Despaire's confidence back. That's really what he is this week. So to me, your stock is down, and until you start putting a little more effort in, your stock will continue to fall. It's not as bad as Lucien Frost. Don't worry, right? I'm not telling anyone to jump out of the building yet, but it's bad. And final stock down to me is both the Superstar and the Bombshell tag team divisions. All right, I'm gonna make this open plea to the world, to the wrestling world. If you're out there and you are a tag team, right, and you're looking to make a mark, there is no better place to do it right now than Sin City Wrestling, right? Because these divisions are barren. I mean, you could come in right now and have a title match in your first match. I mean, the stock is down, and the stock is going to continue to fall in the tag team divisions until we figure out a way to jumpstart it. I don't see teams forming anytime soon. I don't think we have a deep enough roster right now for that, unfortunately. So, if you're out there and you're a tag team, all right, now is the time to jump on board. As always, guys, this has been the one, the only, the incomparable Tommy Knox, live in Las Vegas on the Hotwire. Don't miss Climax Control on Sunday. Okay, it's our first show back, our first show in Japan. All right, it's gonna be a slobber knocker, right? Sold out house, from what I'm told. The Japanese can't fucking wait for SCW. All right. Don't miss me next week. Don't forget to answer the Twitter poll question of the week. Don't forget to send me all your mailbag questions. Okay, I will answer them as best as I can, I promise. And as always, if you didn't enjoy the show, go fuck yourself.
Behind, I've been up, but won't sit down.